Shaw and go Liverpool.
What's with this
Desmond,
team,
I was
right?
trying to sum up.
NVD, if you love you, NVD. Can you give me your email address? I'd love to go for a pint.
So listen, lads, we're going to move on. We're going to get away from that rambling and dug out what we've said. You know, Ricky Pellegrini was a little bit of a devil with his answer. He came in with the
Devil's advocate.
I think Ricky was right. You've got to look at two things, right? You've got to look at form and the games out. If you have got a team that are in form and they've got easy games coming up, that's the sweet spot. That's where you've got to be looking.
It's almost like there are certain teams that are fixture-proof. I think the only team that really is fixture-proof, but you know, bar the loss against Wolves and the shocking performances here and there, Man City are probably the only fixture-proof team in the whole league, I think.
Yeah, but at the same time, Pellegrini, it's like really difficult in the fact that, as you probably mentioned it 1,000 times before, the rotation system's just like throws everything off. So I've got like 3 Man City players. Like I've got like Aguero. I've got rid of like defender. I've like replaced him with another Man City player. But you just don't know who's playing week to week. So it's just like, sometimes it's a waste and you're just relying on the strength of sometimes your subs, which is really, like, if you haven't got a strong sub, you're screwed.
Yeah, exactly. So Man City's still a risk because of the rotation. There's certain players. I think De Bruyne obviously seems to scream volumes for everyone at the moment because he seems to be the main player. Without him, they don't do as well. So
Game week 10, we're jumping in, okay?
Game week 10.
It kicks off on Friday the 25th. It's a 3 o'clock kickoff here in America.
I much prefer the early Friday kickoff than the
Why do
Monday
they do this
kickoff.
on Fridays
it's
and
better
Monday?
than the Monday.
I hate both.
They hate the Monday. The Friday's fine. Get your team in. And what a cracker this should be to start.
Fridays catches you off guard.
So it's Southampton-Leicester. We all were just saying Vardy's got some tasty
And
fixtures.
Danny Wings.
And
Danny Wings.
So tell me, what are we seeing there? Are we seeing Danny Wings getting a hat-trick?
I mean, Danny Wings got 5 in 4 games, 5.9 million, scored again at the weekend. I think he's worth having as your third striker. I wouldn't say your first or your second, but your third striker.
That's exactly what I would say as well. Jamie Vardy, number 1 for me this week. Aguero will be my second striker, and Danny Wings will be my third. I've been saying it for weeks. I've been getting mocked for weeks. It's starting to pay dividends. Jimmy Ferguson here can,
Do you know another one for Leicester, Tielemans? I wasn't jumping on the Tielemans bandwagon early on. I know a lot of people did actually get him in their teams, and they've actually dropped off him since. But now he's actually starting to show his form. He looked great. Deserved his goal. 6.4 million. Harvey Barnes as well got 2 assists. I think a lot of people will be looking at him. 5.9 million is actually quite expensive, but look good. You know, 2 assists. You can't argue with that, right?
I'm glad you guys have spoken about him. Actually, he was in the dream team as well from last week, and I've seen him a few times. He looks like a really good player, and I don't know whereabouts he's come from. Has he been at Leicester for a couple of seasons?
I think he's through their academy.
Tielemans' goal was absolutely blinding. What a hit
fantastic.
that was!
Well deserved. He was
brilliant,
probably the best player on the pitch for Leicester.
Southampton are very volatile, right? You never really know what to expect from them. They get beat 3-0 from Burnley away back the first game of the season, and then they draw 1-1 with United.
Yeah.
I mean, we've said it a few times though. Their goal difference, they've let in third most in the league. They've let in 16. Only Norwich and Watford have let in more. 21.
Where did they actually sit in the league? Overall?
Southampton, they're 17th.
Okay, so it kind of reflects.
And they've struggled for quite a few years. They've never been like top of the table.
They've flirted with relegation for a few years. You're right. Yeah,
they have done. I mean, for this one, I'm going to go Vardy myself. I think the Tielemans shout good, but the Harvey Barnes I think is a really good suggestion. If you've got Cantwell still in your team, Harvey Barnes for me could be a tasty guy. He don't play like the whole game every game, but he is a good player.
5.9.
And are you following up with Maddison, or do you think Maddison's still got some value?
Maddison or Grealish? I mean, I was banging on about that last week. I said about Grealish being a contention for the England team, and obviously the papers are writing about him now after the performance of the weekend. Aston Villa are scoring a lot of goals with Maddison. Even though Leicester look at their position in the table, they've got Tielemans, they've got a few others who are all competing with Maddison for those points.
I think Villa are relying on Grealish a lot more, to be honest. I mean, even though they've got Sean's best friend John McGinn and
No, Sean's best friend's Doherty.
Oh, okay.
We don't like Doherty. We don't like Doherty.
Yeah, I think it's a good shout.
Even though he won a penalty, didn't he?
He did, yeah. Wrapping up the first one, what you see the final score being?
I reckon it's going to be 2-1 to Leicester.
Leicester, yeah.
I don't see Southampton scoring personally.
I think
they're going to struggle. I know that we're saying Danny Wings, he scored a couple. His run's going to come over at some point.
I agree. I still think it's a
3-1 Leicester
home
for me.
fixture.
3-1 Leicester.
Yeah.
I reckon it's going to be a lot tighter than you guys are thinking. I could see 0-0 here.
I actually agree with the 3-1.
Mate, in all fairness, Leicester have let in 8 goals, which isn't bad at all. That's pretty decent, and they've scored 16. They're third in the table.
I told you, Schmeichel, it's a good shout for your keeper.
Yeah.
And we just say the game's coming up.
That's why I see Leicester keeping a clean sheet against Southampton.
Cleanie.
They're getting a cleanie all day long.
Next up, Man City Villa.
Have you noticed Mendy's back?
He's back again. Mendy's back.
He's been mended.
He's been mended.
He's been mended.
We were just talking about Harvey Barnes. He's the same price for Harvey Barnes, 5.9. Along with City, obviously, they can keep clean sheets.
I remember his first game ever in Fantasy Premier League. He come away with like 3 or 4 assists,
Absolutely
didn't he?
brilliant. Last year he was brilliant. He was superb. He just got that injury. It was just detrimental to him. But I brought him in 3 weeks ago. He played in the Champions League. Only played half a game, so I was like, right, Pep's preparing him for the Premier League again because he was so good last season. And I was like, we can't ignore him. It'd be a great way to get into that Man City defence in terms of points. Now he's back. Played the game. Looked good. Looked solid. 5.9 million.
And is he playing instead of Zinchenko?
Yes.
You see, 5.9 million, I think, personally, for me, it's quite a lot for a defender.
Even at Man City?
Good at Man City, as good as at Man City, but when you can have the likes of Robertson, 6.9, I don't know, mate. It's a tight one. I was thinking about this, but Alonso at Chelsea, he's only 6.2, and he's started to play every game. He scored on the weekend. He's had 2 assists.
Another one who was good last season.
Yeah. Exactly. So interesting.
Yeah,
but
I think it's a bit of a gamble, to be honest, with Mendy. I think with Mendy, it's a good shout, but you're probably going to watch him maybe for a game week.
Yeah,
or 2.
I was too rash.
Is it too soon for Mendy? Maybe?
I was too rash. I mean, I was really too soon because I got him in 3 weeks ago and he didn't play. Those kind of little signs were true, but just I was too early on him. I was trying to get ahead of the pack, trying to get those valuable differential points that we were talking about earlier.
Pellegrini,
you little
very
devil.
eager.
I'm
very eager.
I'm a
little devil advocate.
I still get scared by a lot of you guys having De Bruyne on your team. I think he's got the power to create.
Have you not?
And the power to create.
I feel like none of us have got De Bruyne because we couldn't afford to.
The last couple of weeks he's not done much,
Yeah,
right? So 2 weeks ago he was dropped. Last week against Crystal Palace he got 3 points.
3 points,
for that.
They showed something on Sky Sports the other day. They looked at the stats games that De Bruyne hasn't played and they've really suffered, Man City. I knew De Bruyne was integral to their team, but I didn't realise how integral he was.
He's brilliant.
Last season he was injured for a lot of the season and
Yeah.
they still managed to perform pretty well.
But the
without
season
him.
before, you're right, Captain, and the season before that he was the top FPL scorer.
Do you know though, Captain, he raises a very
for City.
good point there, and I think there's something to be said about the stability of a team and actually not doing this rotation game, right? Not only does that rotation game mess up our fantasy things, which we absolutely hate Pep for, he's not really getting that consistency in his team. And last season what they did have is they had Bernardo Silva, who had the best season of his life. He's a great player.
Best player in the Man City team last season.
And what's happening this season is they just keep rotating, right? Mahrez is in 1 week, then he's out. He gets a little bit of form. He don't have a second good week, so he's out.
Yeah.
Sterling was out. He's in. You can't keep doing that to players. Back to the matter at hand. We've all been praising Aston Villa, but they're away at City.
Yeah.
And Man City is the Aston Villa bubble about to burst for 1 week?
Yes.
It's not just for 1 week though, right? Villa can, again, very volatile team. What was the result 2 weeks ago?
They got a tough few fixtures, mate. They got Man City, then they got Liverpool, then they got the Wolves.
This is why it's going to be hard to get Grealish in because I think he's still going to be one of the best players, but they have got a tough fixture, and despite their form, they're scoring a lot of goals coming out from the Championship. I think that's pretty good going. And
do you know what's really impressive? They've scored as many goals as Tottenham Hotspur, and they've scored 5 more than Manchester United.
There you go. Captain, just tell us your thoughts about Spurs.
We were lucky to get a 1-0, to be honest. I mean, the VAR was just ridiculous, and it kind of caused confusion. No one knew what was going on. And,
was it a goal? We thought it was a goal. It said no on the screen.
I think both teams should have had penalties.
Watford, it was shocking. It was really shocking. But it was, as I said earlier on in the podcast, there's definitely more to it than players playing really badly. I think it's just morale in the changing rooms, contracts and people wanting to leave but not being let to leave. There's just a stagnant, stale.
Something needs to change, right?
Yeah, definitely.
I thought you guys played really well when you were trying to get back in that game. I really did think, it wasn't easy. Son was really good.
Yeah, Son hit the
bar.
Son smacked the bar.
Yeah,
he was brilliant.
He played really well.
He was brilliant.
Dele Alli was a welcome return.
Watford, he actually looked really good. Watford are poor. Watford are poor.
Yeah,
but Spurs have too much expectation on their team. They've overachieved for the last 3-4 seasons. They haven't brought fresh blood into the team. They've stuck with the players they've had for the last 2-3 seasons. You need to freshen it up occasionally.
I don't think we've overachieved. Like, Spurs have always been like a top 5 team. You can't say we've overachieved.
You have never been a top 5 team. 3 seasons, mate, and you've forgotten the dark days of Gary Taggart and
Gary Mabbott, you mean?
You've forgotten the dark days of Gary Mabbott, mate. And Jermaine Genus. Come on. Love the guy, but
lovely pundit, great pundit.
Great pundit, yeah. And you had what was his name? Old Walker in goal with the curtains, the old schoolboy curtains. You boys have massively overachieved top 5, my arse. I do love you though, Captain. I think Spurs, mate. They're a wonderful team, but they just expect too much. But
he's having on his super tenants.
Where we go from there, though, one question for everyone, right? I want to get this very succinct. I want a yes/no answer.
Yeah.
We've just spoken about it. VAR. Is it ruining the game? Yes or no, Neil Van Dijk?
Michael's controversy.
Yes/no?
Yes or no?
Stroking his beard.
Yes, get rid of it. It's not what football is all about. You're seeing so many decisions which are still subjective, but football is not black and white. There's rules open to interpretation. 1 minute you're getting something which is not obvious given. Yes. Get rid of it.
Captain, is VAR ruining the game? Yes or no? Yes or no?
Put your nuts away.
Well, obviously it is. It's just
yes.
No one's
Ricky
been
Pellegrini, is VAR ruining the game?
I just say one really quick
yes
point.
No.
It is, but they just need to adjust it. They need the referee to run over to the monitor on the pitch line. That's what, on the sideline. That's what I think should happen.
Can I just say one more thing about it very quickly?
Because then they can actually, the referee can actually see it himself rather than someone sitting in the studio.
Another referee.
Because then he's got two points of view. He's got the real in action. He's got the point of view he can see. And then he's also got the replay. That's what I'm saying.
I don't think it's anything to do with the camera angles being bad. I think they're plenty covered. I just think it's...
I think they're checking too many things,
I disagree.
They're checking too many things. You should check, is that ball over the line, yes or no? You've got to get that right? The penalties, you can't start checking the
consistency of it, or rather the inconsistency of it.
The referee on the pitch should have the final say. The perfect example is like the Man United Liverpool, right? They said it's a clear foul. When you slow something down enough times,
you'll find a follow in it if you want to find a follow.
Exactly right. There's a lot of value in the referee that's actually on the pitch.
Agreed.
Watching everything in real time, right?
So let him make the decision based on what he sees.
Got his first point of view. He didn't think it was a foul, right? Then if he gets his second point of view, the same person, the same referee, the final decision maker going over and watching the screen, rather than someone else who's not seeing it in real time on the pitch. But I think they're going to be in an enhanced position to have those two point of views rather than just someone sitting in the studio.
Will they be big enough to admit that they got it wrong first time?
That's a psychology thing. If they're a good referee,
you make a very valid point, and we'll leave it at this, right? But what's the point of a referee?
I seriously think they should go back to drawing board, like get a set of rules that they can stand by. Because at the moment, what's happening is like, oh yes, so that is like a foul because it touched his fingernail.
That's annoying. I think we're all in agreement that's
actually the new rule apart from VAR.
It's absolutely stupid.
It is stupid, and what I'd say, what is the point of the referee anymore? I mean, I could go and be the referee, couldn't I?
Yeah.
Because everything's getting... All you've got to do is be able to run a little bit.
The MLS, they give it in favour of the striker, and I like that. I'd rather see more goals.
Right, I've successfully diverged everyone away from Man City Villa. I'm seeing a Man City win. I'm going 4-0, actually. I think Villa are going to get a spanking.
I agree.
They've ridden a high. They're on the way down.
1-1.
1-1. Wow. So we got 3 people 4-0, and we got a 1-1 from Sean the John McGinn fanboy.
John McGinn to get a goal.
How are we going to decide the Man City player that's going to score the goals? Is Aguero coming back in?
I think Sterling's about time for him to get some goals. Like, he looked good. I think me and MVD, I'll hand it over to you, saying some good points about Sterling earlier.
Yeah, he looked to me like he can't shoot again.
He's like Liverpool in the early days.
He hit the corner flag against Palace. I don't think he hit the corner flag. I think he went out for a throw.
To be fair, I think frustratingly for someone like Sterling, who you've seen, that up